Hello, everyone. I'm Felicia Rondo, and it's close over there.
Hello, everyone.
And this is Bitsley Book Club, where we take a look at whatever we feel like reviewing for book reading comic times. I am so bad at that intro. So today we're looking at the latest issue of Sonic Comics, issue 54 of IDW Sonic.
Wait, you're telling me that on Bit Silly Book Club we're reviewing the latest issue of the Sonic comics that are ongoing right now?
It's more likely than you think. And
Amazing.
yeah, we've been keeping up with this comic series, and we're here with the newest one after taking a detour into the latest miniseries, Scraptic Island.
Yeah, which has more than a few strange similarities with the ongoing comic.
Yeah, but
There's some darkness in tone. Sonic has a really bad luck with his left leg suddenly.
it's terrible luck, the worst.
They're very strange.
Mm-hmm. But but yeah, we are now 3 issues into Evan taking the reins of this storyline, and now 2 issues away from its conclusion. And I gotta say, Evan's really made something out of this.
Yeah, I believe when Evan, you know, on the first issue, Evan took over on, I made the statement that she needed to, you know, she needed to make me buy in because I had so been repelled by
Yeah.
issue 50.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she's definitely done it. This storyline is going places. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, there's just some great stuff in here in this particular issue and in every issue. It's
Yeah.
Evan Evan within Sonic comic discussions started, as we mentioned, started to immediately get
Pigeonholed.
a yeah, pigeonholed into just doing slice of life, just on account of the fact that her first arcs taking off after a really downer of an arc,
Yeah.
were lighter in fare because you need to do that. You need contrast to make people care when, this stuff happens.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're left like over a year into an arc, and you're just fucking burnt out. But enough about the metal virus.
Hmm.
We're here in Overpowered. I think Evan said was the storyline title.
Yeah, it's hard to know because the comics themselves don't actually say anywhere in them.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
I think the only place they do say is at the back where the letters are, which I don't always read.
yeah, but yeah. There's no title pages anymore. There's no reveal of oh, here's what this issue is called, or here's what this issue's story overall
Yeah.
is like.
Um, back back with the old series of Sonic comics,
Mm-hmm.
um, they would do the typical comic thing of having a page where there's both the title of the story and the credits, and usually a nice big full page art for you to grasp onto. But
Yeah, and
that's just not the format that this comic uses. So
yeah, having a title page often involves okay, just one scene for this page, so we can fit in all the credits and the characters and all that. And sometimes
mhm.
the first page will have more than one panel. Not with this one though. This one does just have one page that could easily have been a title page. But anyway, it's always the
Yeah.
case. But yeah, shall we dig in?
Well, to start off, I do want to mention that the cover isn't great.
It sucks. Yeah.
I
Somehow
I
cover
would
B is worse, but cover A isn't good either.
I mean I would personally rate cover A as just being eh. But B just is really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what is up with that.
Mm-hmm. It
Um,
just didn't
it's
work
really
out.
flatly colored, and
Mm-hmm.
the line art itself is not very impressive. I also am not a big fan of the retail incentive cover for this issue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, I just um, who's the artist who does those again?
Natalie Fordrain.
Yeah, Natalie Fortune did some really good art.
Yes.
At various times, she's done some really great covers, but sometimes I just find them very unpleasant and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe having the same person do a cover for your comic every single month
Mm-hmm.
isn't necessarily going to lead to great results every time.
Yeah.
At least the steady work is good.
That's good. Yeah.
Um, but on from the not great covers, any of the three that they make for every comic.
Yeah. We
Uh,
have the credits page where our first serious sit down conversation has to happen with you lovely viewers.
it's funny. It usually takes until at least page one of the comic, but we're actually here, just like right in the interior with the credits, and we have to have a conversation.
Yeah, so
Let's
in
go over
yeah, top to
the
bottom.
credits that yeah. Let's go over the credits as printed first, I guess,
Yes.
and then we'll
Story was by Evan Stanley.
yeah.
Art
Art.
also by Evan Stanley and Natalie Haynes.
Yeah. Colors by Reggie Graham, letters by Son Lee as normal, and the editors being Riley Farmer and David Marriott. But wait, you may be wondering, why does that not line up with what you're seeing on the screen now?
Yeah, I mean, the screen also has spoilers here, as
It
in
does.
color artists, Jonathan Dobbs, brackets uncredited.
Yeah. And Felisa did reach out on Twitter to editors Riley Farmer and David Marriott to try and get a response about why Jonathan Dobbs isn't credited, but I believe you've not received anything back.
Nothing.
So
Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
we don't have any further context beyond the fact that on Twitter, Reggie Graham tweeted about how Jonathan Dobbs helped with the coloring,
Mm-hmm.
with Jonathan Dobbs also speaking how that help included doing flats for some of the pages.
Yeah.
How many exactly isn't known. The the statement seemed to indicate that there wasn't many, but however many it was still work done, and it's really weird to me that that work is being credited to a different person.
Yeah. Reggie Graham is being credited for Jonathan Dobbs' work in this comic.
Yeah, and while Reggie Graham has done the majority of the coloring in this comic, he has not done all of it,
Mm-hmm.
and
And, while moral rights in the United States leave something to be desired in terms of how much it protects attribution to creators.
yeah.
Um,
I am personally a big proponent of the fact that people deserve credit for their work.
yes.
If someone does work, they should be credited for that.
Yeah. And we there's something to be said of like getting your foot in the door, and this is an incredible opportunity for Jonathan Dobbs that many people can only dream of. But the thing is, I it's weird. I haven't seen any evidence based on this comic, based on in the letters page later, based on everything the editors have posted. It's weird. I can't tell if the editors know about this. Even they have to by now, but like,
I it's very strange because like we said, Reggie Graham, tweeted out how he was assisted. He had another artist on coloring duty.
yeah,
But we looked at the Twitter pages of the editors, and they've said nothing about it. And like it's a big uncomfortable thing right now for me with this comic, just because
Yeah,
there's uncredited work in here, and I hate uncredited work.
me too. If someone worked on your thing, they should at the very least get attributed, and certainly get paid for it.
Yeah,
And for the record, nothing has been said on that front. I'm not making any accusations or whatever. Just
yeah. I assume payment was done. If it wasn't, my mind would be boggled.
but yeah. I will note that Jonathan Dobbs has been basically doing cartwheels about this opportunity ever since it happened. Seems very happy. He very happily posted that the Sonic Wiki included a note in the trivia about his contribution. So he seems happy.
Yeah, I look forward to never seeing him on this comic again because he never got credited for it and probably won't be called back. I assume. At the very least, he
That's the
won't
thing
be
I'd
called
worry
back
about.
to a different comic because no one knows officially that he did this. So if Jonathan Dobbs does want to work on comics more, which not a great industry right now, but if that was something that was wanted, well, not this is not going to open up any doors for that. No opportunities are going to come from this
That's what I
because
was worried about. Like
there's no credit.
there's not. He's
Um, and people have talked about how like being paid in exposure is fake and not real.
mhm.
At the same time, getting your work out there and having your name on it can get you more work. Never take that in place of pay,
Mhm.
but always make sure you're getting that in addition to pay. Because
Yeah,
you deserve that.
because then without the attribution with the pay, you're just like getting paid way too little for work you cannot get any further opportunities from.
Hmm.
But just I don't like it. I don't like how this happened. And I know some people will just kind of take a flat like if the person who did this is happy, no one else should be upset. In which case, fuck you. And second of all, just as a professional, as someone who reads comics, who reviews them, I just like having answers, and we have a lack of them here. We don't know why he's not in the comic in the credits whether it's in the credits page or when they are actively calling out the names of each person who worked on it in a more informal manner in the Letter Squad page or in a tweet from the editor. We don't know a lot about this, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
With that out of the way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as you said, we don't have answers, so
Mhm.
kind of just have to end it there as that
Yeah,
this is uncomfortable. We don't know why this is.
it just is.
Yeah.
The story so far page continues to be the story so far page.
Yeah. Recapping from the last. This is all from the previous issue, I think.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and the cast page looks terrible.
Yeah. It continues to be just I there that same bad art of Tails that doesn't look good, and his eyes are not the right size.
Yeah.
There are so many other drawings of Tails throughout this comic. You could replace it so easily. I mean, they have to adjust this cast page for every time they do a comic because there's a different lineup of characters.
There's
Just
time.
grab a different art. There's a month in between releases.
But
We start off basically where for the previous issue left off,
as
with
the fight,
Sonic.
yeah,
Sonic and Tails have encountered Surds, and Surds is filled with a lot of electricity.
yes, as the fight in Central City continues. Surge shoots a lightning bolt between Tails and Sonic as Sonic narrowly dodges it. While still holding on to Tails.
Yeah, who's flying and carrying Sonic.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I said Tails one too many times during that.
It happens.
Surge says, "You can't stay up there forever, Flyboy. Get down here and let's finish this."
Yeah. Tails is definitely feeling the just either exhaustion or panic from the fact that Surge is very, very powerful and again filled with a lot of electricity right now. And then Surge does like a spin attack off a piece of rubble that formed a ramp, slamming into Tails, electrocuting him, and making him drop Sonic, and then just stomping down in ball form onto Sonic, ramming him into the ground.
Yeah. Leg not doing the best at this point either.
Yeah, there's like little staticky bits there so that he is in pain.
He's like, "Ow! Don't give out on me now!" And, Surge, in a really good drawing that has, like, her tongue out a bit.
Yeah, doing the rock horns as he does.
Yes, and, "Aw, you got a boo-boo? You don't have to worry about that much longer."
Yeah, and, hi. Hello. Hey, Freyo, inside?
Hey, Freyo and chat.
Not too late at all? We're
Yeah,
just starting off on our review proper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Whisper shows up back on the scene.
Oh, yeah.
In a really cool moment. She I think does a whistle.
Yeah. She does like the thing where she puts her fingers in her mouth and goes, "Wee." Ooh, very good.
Surge's like, "What?" And Sonic's like, "Whisper, wait, don't." But then we see Whisper confidently standing with Cyan next to her.
She wordlessly just waves her hand, and Cyan morphs into energy and zigzags all around.
Yeah.
And goes into Sonic.
And Sonic's like, "Ooh, okay." And then gets powered up.
Yeah. You can imagine an ethereal voice announcing, "Laser!" at your convenience. As Sonic utilizes the cyan laser color power and starts attacking Surge at just laser speed.
Saying, "I've worked with Wisps a time or two. I gotta say, your fancy hat's pretty neat, but this is how it's really done." And then he just really just dominates the whole thing.
Yeah, there's just just a page of just Surge getting attacked and hit by laser bounce after laser bounce on all sorts of different angles.
Yeah.
And Tails is very excited, saying, "All right, Sonic."
And Surge cubes up.
Yeah, so he covers herself in blue cubes to deflect Sonic's attacks, but isn't getting anywhere with that because Sonic's not running out of energy anytime soon.
Yeah. And Surge just growls, "Thinks he's so smart." She takes a moment to watch Sonic's movements and then says, "Durr!" and then grabs him while he's still balled up. Then tosses him aside, saying, "Cute."
Yeah, separating out Cyan from Sonic, presumably with the power of the... What was it called? Dynamo Cage.
Dynamo Cage, yeah, thank you. I wasn't going to pull that. And at that point, Surge now has all Whisper's wisps.
Yeah, Whisper cries out for Cyan, but Tails holds her back. And says that unless that they can drain their power, there's no stopping her.
Whisper slumps down and says she's not giving up.
And Tails announces that neither is he. Actually, and he tells her to wait here because he's got a plan. As we see Surge absorb Cyan, now having all of Whisper's wisp friends absorbed into, I assume, the cage itself.
Then Sonic starts to just mention that the wisps are thinking, feeling creatures that she is just using. And then, Surge starts just to counter, like, that like, you think I care? I'm sick of your holier-than-thou grandstanding. Where do you get off telling me how to be? But then Sonic notices Tails waving at him. Not really paying attention as a potential philosophical argument is set to break out. and then Sonic's like, hold a thought. And Surge's like, hey!
Yeah, Sonic speeds right by her.
Mm-hmm. And then Sonic heads into the fucking department store here.
I don't think it's a department store. I think it's a what do you call it? Like, it's like a home hardware.
Like a Home Depot.
Like a Canadian Tire.
Yes. Sonic says, you better have a plan, buddy, because I sure don't.
Like a Princess Auto, you know?
Got it.
Yeah. And Tails tells him to hold her off here for a minute, and then meet him in the tools and appliances section downstairs.
You can hear Surge's hollering from outside, I'm talking to you, Hedgehog! And Sonic's like, hold her off. Yeah, sure, easy, no problemo.
As he is clearly favoring his right leg, as his left is still all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And all this running on it is not helping.
No. Then Surge crashes through the window, eyes just beaming. Just, don't you dare run away from me, as she screams.
Yeah, showing off her new addition to her power set, I-beams.
Mm-hmm.
With the cyan laser power.
Yeah.
As he just starts wrecking the store by sending her I-beams all around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Sonic's like, gah! And Surge remarks, not so brave now! Where's the swagger you had back in Eggman City? You gonna forgive me now? And then she fucking falls on her goddamn face after tripping on some bolts.
Yeah, because, when Seed burst her way in and started wrecking things up, she knocked over a container, which knocked over some bolts.
Yeah.
And so she falls flat on her face.
Mm-hmm.
As Sonic looks...
a little like, oh wow, okay.
As he's just running and scrambling away.
Mm-hmm. Then, Surge picked herself back up, seeming to blame Sonic for falling on her face. And she says,
yeah.
That's it! You're gonna fry! And Sonic's like, no thanks! As he does the shenanigans and puts a bucket on her head. Sonic remarks that he's not in tip-top shape, but it's gonna take more than that to catch him.
Mm-hmm. As he starts to back down the stairs towards Tails, seeming to decide this is about all the holding her off that he's got in him.
Mm-hmm.
And most of that was her anyway.
Yeah. Sonic goes down to the tools and appliances section and says, dang, you've been busy, to Tails.
Yeah, as we see that he's hooked up all sorts of wires to, like, generators and washing machines and at least one oven and I think a lawnmower.
Mm-hmm. Sonic says she is really ticked off, all set for whatever you've got. And Surge is just growling as she goes down the stairs. And then
she's running down, hands covered in, like, a spiky aura from the pink spike with power.
Yeah.
And just charges forward, but does take a moment to notice that Tails is behind her, doing something.
Mm-hmm. Going, what the?
And Tails says, sorry in advance, because it's gonna hurt. And he clamps two jumper cables to the little spikes on either side of the Dynamo Cage hat.
Yeah.
And it certainly does look like it hurts, as he is screaming. And we see electricity just flowing through all the wires towards all of the different appliances Tails is hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "It's working. Powering everything in here will drain her power in no time."
And then Surge growls, "You can't stop me! I'll show you power!" And Tails pushes Sonic back as shit's getting real.
Yeah, Surge basically pumps out a huge amount of electricity, enough so much that an explosion occurs, and then leaves her completely drained.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, once again, Surge's short-sightedness is her main downfall.
Yeah. Sonic says, "Let's get that thing off her before she comes to." And then, dang it! As his fucking leg hurts. He stepped on his ankle wrong. Like
he jumps over an oven, and then we get a close up on his foot, which has the sound effect of twins, as his ankle bends in a way that looks quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tails rushes over to take care of things, saying, "I've got it. And then he notices and turns that at the top of the stairs
This is his Kit.
Kit, looking very distraught.
Mm-hmm.
Kit rushes over to Surge, who's now fully collapsed on the ground unconscious. And Sonic calls out to Kit,
saying, "Kit, please, get that ring thing off her. We can't stop her. When she wakes up, who knows what'll happen?"
But Kit, at first, just looks very, very distraught at the current state Surge is in.
Mm-hmm.
But then, darkness covers his eyes. We stop being able to read his expression, and he just says, "You said she was gone."
And Sonic says, I thought she was. I saw her fall."
Mm-hmm. Tails is very uncomfortable, and Sonic looks very uncomfortable.
And this whole situation happening because Sonic wanted to be upfront with Kit.
Mm-hmm.
Because lying to him was only going to, in his mind, hurt him in the end.
And unfortunately, being truthful ended up being a bit premature.
Yep.
Ah.
Because Kit's here picking up Surge, remarking on that she's hurt.
Yeah, and you see his glowing pink eye peeking through.
Sonic starts to say she's hurting herself, trying to... before getting swatted away with Kit's water tentacles.
He screams out, "No!" and says, "It was you. You lied. You couldn't do it the first time, and you were going to finish what you started." As he raises himself up on his little watery tentacles, his eyes glowing, being the menacing little murder baby he tends to be.
Yeah.
And he declares that he won't let Sonic, and lashes out with his water tentacles, and Sonic just raises up an arm to guard himself, only for Tails to come in.
Yep.
Whizzing his tails all rapid and dispersing the water.
Once again, just Tails becoming a real whiz at dealing with water for Sonic's sake.
Mm-hmm. And then we get this really good expression on Kit, where he's just snarling and he looks pained. And he pauses for a moment and then asks, "Why would you bother with me? You already have him."
Referring to Tails.
Yeah, as he just can't help but feel inadequate and unnecessary, and it's very interesting just like seeing how Kit's character is developing with his losing of Surge and his losing of like his entire central motivation.
Yeah.
And then like, he took all of those emotions, all that devotion, and he put it onto Sonic, only to be presented with what he can only perceive to be Sonic having lied to him.
Mm-hmm.
Having lied to him about Surge being dead, and that's a lot.
Yep.
Kit yells and announces, "I'm done!" and charges at Sonic and Tails.
Sonic tries to get up, saying, "Tails, no!"
But Tails holds up a hand to stop Sonic, saying, "It's okay, I got it." But before that fight can happen,
Surge begins to wake up, going...
and Kit is knocked out of his murderous rage out of concern for Surge. He rushes over to her and says, "Please don't move, I'll get you out of here." And just, not even looking back, says to Sonic and Tails, "Don't follow us." And just quietly leaves, Surge cradled in his arms up the stairs, leaving a very wet trail behind him.
Mm-hmm. Later,
we cut back to whichever of Tails'
yeah.
several houses this one is. I think this is the one shaped like his face, because it's one in the city.
Yeah.
And we see as Sonic and Tails are both helping Belle get out from being pinned under the wreckage that Kid had left her in. As he apologizes for not being able to stop him from leaving, I guess.
And Sonic tells her no worries, it happens.
Tails asks if Sonic's leg is okay.
And Sonic says, yeah, it's getting better. You know I heal quick, just not quick enough this time.
The voices are off screen, but I think Tails says, "We're gonna follow them, right?"
To which Sonic replies, "Oh yeah, she doesn't get to run off with Whisper's friends like that."
And speaking of, we see Belle looking over to Whisper, who's in a corner holding her broken Wispin, and Belle walks over to her, introduces herself, mentioning how she knows Tangle, and Tangle told Belle about Whisper, and says, if you need some help with your Wispin, I'm pretty good at fixing things. Would you let me take a look?
And Whisper just wordlessly hands it to her.
And Belle says, "Thank you," and takes it, and that'll presumably be all fixed up by the next time we see it.
And Sonic promises, "We're gonna get your wisp back. Promise." Then we cut to Eggman and Co. for a page.
Yeah. In which Orbot is delivering a report, and Eggman is completely ignoring it to just focus on his own thoughts. Just heartbreakingly, Cubot's Miku figurine got stepped on?
But how? Eggman asks.
He says, "How did she do it?" And in a very fun moment, Orbot mentions, "With her foot?" But then we see Eggman continuing to ramble on, clearly having ignored everything Orbot just said. Saying, "The way she used the dynamo, she tossed my entire design on its head."
Literally.
Whatever tech the platypus stuffed in her is clearly having a radical effect. And then he declares, getting up from his chair, having, just fixed up Metal Sonic, "That's it! I must know! My plans can wait. If this pays off, it could change everything. Come, Metal, we're going hunting." And he walks off, leaving bemused Orbot and an upset Cubot who just doesn't like how his figurine gets stepped on. God.
My maker figurine. She made Minecraft.
Yeah. Specifically, to be clear, she's referred to as Cyber Singer Mika, and she has pinkish hair, but is clearly meant to be Hatsune Miku.
Yeah.
And it's some kind of a furry, probably a rabbit based on the ears, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably a purple rabbit with a big bow tie there. It's a very small little drawing. So.
Cyber Singer Mika. It's like Miku, but with an A at the end.
Yeah. Totally original parody character.
And one letter off from Mina. Surge is
who
waking up.
also has purple hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surge is waking
We
up.
we cut to I mean, the room itself looks like it's just like a just a filing room with a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of filing cabinets, some cardboard boxes, and then a bunk bed. So presumably the room reserved for Surge and Kit's personal use, um, because they didn't exactly get great treatment.
Yep.
But Surge awakes and Kit, clearly having been waiting by her bedside, reaches up to her and is like, Surge! Ah.
And Surge says, "Her bunk. This is Starline's base."
Yeah, and Kit says, I didn't know where else to go. We'll be safe here, as he's holding up a glowing green lantern with one water tentacle.
He's been chosen.
Ah, if only Green Lantern were here. Then he could team up with the Flash like they used to.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Kit remarks that he even found some food and spare clothes, but Starline appears and says, "Nowhere is safe. Not for you." And Surge turns to the invisible figure, saying, "Get away!"
Yeah. So yeah, to be clear, she scrambles out of bed,
Mm-hmm.
retreating from him and recoiling from him, which also leads to her recoiling away from Kit,
Kit.
who of course cannot see the figment of Surge's imagination that's being fueled by the messy bit of technology she grafted onto herself
Yeah.
unwisely. And so he apologizes, but then notices that something's not quite right.
She's definitely looking at,
Not him.
as Starline says, "Right back where you started." And she's like, "I no."
She starts
Starline,
cowering into the corner.
as the phantom figure of Starline looms over her, saying, "I built your body. I shaped your mind. You will always be mine." And then,
Only for him to disappear as Kit takes his physical place and clings to Surge and starts apologizing, saying, I'm sorry I left you. I didn't know. Please don't be upset. His lantern now discarded, as he's
they're
just
in the dark.
focusing on her.
She pushes Kid off a bit and says, "Yeah, well, just don't do it again." And then
Ruffles his hair.
she says, "Don't worry, Trippy. We're gonna make him pay."
Still wish that there was a better nickname.
You know, I came up with Little Dude. It's like a nice inverse of Big Guy from Sonic and Tails. It
She
fits
could
in
have
with
called him Squirt.
Yeah,
That's what you call a small boy. Small boy. And it's also what it's water.
but
Drippy.
yeah, Drippy. That's the issue with next time Surge and Kit reunited.
Which is weird because actually this time Surge and Kit reunited. Actually, if you read the issue, you would know that this time Surge and Kit reunited.
Actually.
And this was really good.
I'm definitely left at the end of this just thinking like, so what's Surge gonna decide to do about Kit? Because Kit is assuming that Sonic tried to murder Surge.
Yeah, which Surge is not currently aware of this confusion since he was unconscious during that part. And I wonder if he'll become aware of it.
I feel like that's likely. Because
But you know,
she has not been very quiet.
We're currently in a bit of a comedy of errors. And Surge hasn't been known to seek Kit's counsel, so it's possible she won't ask him any questions, if nothing more than just to keep up her tough girl attitude. Which
Yeah.
she's gonna want to assert, especially now that Kit is here, and, you know, she has someone to sew off too.
Yeah, but
And
like,
also, I really like this last page where the hug that Kit gives Serge clearly helps calm her down.
mm-hmm,
And while she plays it off because, of who she is,
mm-hmm,
it's clearly helping her a lot to have him back.
mm-hmm.
Like he managed to dispel, like she was in her weakest moments just now with the
Yeah,
Starline Phantom, um, hurting her more than he had before, just breaking her walls down, her and her defenses.
mm-hmm.
But
And in the end, there was Kit with her.
yeah, and Kit helped to build her back up, and it's nice to just see their relationship continue to like be the one thing either of them has going for them.
Yeah,
And it's good to get to see like Kit's devotion to Surge, of course, is unquestionable, but it's good to see as Surge, as she gets further away from the constant mind wipes and gets to develop as a person,
mm-hmm.
how she's also growing to appreciate Kit more than just seeing him as a nuisance.
Yeah,
As the both of them have gone through quite a bit at this point, and they're developing themselves as people properly now that they're not getting mind wiped all the time, and they're developing to be two people who depend on each other.
yeah. And I think Surge is definitely going to depend on Kit in the end here, as I think it's going to become very obvious to Kit that something is not going well with Surge in her Dynamo cage.
Yeah, I think
Is
it's
it
going to have to come down to Kit being the one to either convince Surge to give it up,
or
or
rescue
just be
her
the
from
one
it?
to just take that power away from her.
Because Surge, I don't know if she's gonna like.
I
I don't
mean,
know. Like,
I won't be surprised if Surge accidentally hurts Kit and then just chooses to get rid of the Dynamo Cage after that and runs off, protecting him. I won't be surprised if Kit has to wrest it off of her and runs off, protecting her. I won't be surprised if just something happens and the two run off together. Either way, I believe that these two are going to be their own force together and are going to leave at the end of this arc to sort of reevaluate themselves.
yeah, but Surge's just undying thirst for power, and just like right now all she wants is revenge and like power and more
Yeah.
power. And that's going to become impossible for Kit to indulge because it's hurting her, and he's gonna have to face that Sonic wasn't lying to him when he said
Yeah.
that she was hurting herself. Like his concern for her is going to have to override his desire to just see whatever whim of hers gets fulfilled.
Yeah. And like for Surge, like she's seeking this power to cover up her own insecurity and her own fear.
Yeah.
If she can just get more power, if she can just become stronger, if she can just brute force her emotional insecurities with physical prowess, then she doesn't have to be hurt.
And she's
Which, of
not going
course,
to be
doesn't
hurt
work.
again.
Yeah. And of course, that's not how anything works. I feel like the Dynamo Cage and what it's doing to her is a pretty good just metaphorical element for trying to brute force your way past like
Trauma.
insecurities, trauma, depression, like mental unwellness, because you can't.
You can't.
It will hurt you more to try and brute force past it. I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
I not unique, certainly. It's a place I think a lot of people have been,
Yeah.
and it's something that Surge is gonna have to face. And I'm wondering if it's ultimately gonna have to come down to that. If her concern for Kit is gonna have to outweigh her desperation to not have to face her own, you know, her own weaknesses and problems.
I think it's gonna be that, cause I mean, this just storytelling wise, cause this is very much Surge's story.
Yeah, it. I'm pretty sure anyone looking at this has no like qualms about who is the primary character, who's the main character of this arc, and it is Surge.
It is absolutely Surge.
It's been Surge since Imposter Syndrome, and it is still Surge now.
Yeah. So in this issue, and just having to do with everything we've just been talking about. Um, there's also just the continued use of the Phantom Star line.
Yeah.
Very effective usage. Very good storytelling all around. And this basically comes up every review when Starline comes up, but I
Yeah. We have an ongoing issue with Starline's depiction, which the thing is, it continues to not be. It doesn't get acknowledged,
it
at
doesn't.
least not officially. Like, no one, no one who works on the comic, I think, has talked about this that I've seen.
Yeah.
Um, and, we've talked about it before, so probably we don't want to go into too much detail about it here again. But
I just want to mention that like it doesn't. Sometimes I can just tune it out. Sometimes it's just like, okay, that's happening. Gotta compartmentalize that and focus on everything else in the comic. And sometimes, like after we finish reading this issue, I feel it and it hurts. It hurts when during a time in my country, the United States, where one of the two major political parties' primary messages is that trans people like me are coming for your children. And then here's this Sonic the comic story where this very obviously queer coded character has groomed and abused and traumatized these children and stolen their lives from them.
yeah,
And it just, I'm probably not doing a good job of like explaining the many implications and problems with it, but just it
having Surge and Kit's single gay dad also be an abusive,
groomer.
like, groomer isn't great. And, like, it's clearly not where they were coming from with this. It's clearly the result of multiple decisions being made in vacuums rather than taking into account the whole and thinking about, like, does this say something bad when you put it all together?
Because it does.
Yeah.
And it just, I'm queer, I'm trans, I am very unavoidably queer in my life. I can't go anywhere where my queerness is just chill. If I'm at home, there's like just lack of acceptance. If I'm at work, I'm getting misgendered and just looked at funny. It's never normal. I don't get to be normal, but like, and a big piece of Surgeon Kit's whole thing is like, oh, they've been hurt because they weren't given a normal life. And we've said before, like it's a lot of unintended implications and like not decision made in the vacuum. But what you have here is two innocent people were hurt by this non-normative platypus who's queer, who it's not a nuclear family, and it hurts.
Mhm.
It doesn't hurt this bad all the time, but it hurt this bad this time, and it's not the fault of Evan. It's really just kind of everyone's and no one's basically.
Yeah. I mean, a big problem is that as long as no one is acknowledging that there's a problem, the problem can only get worse. You have to acknowledge problems, and, like, unfortunately, Starline is a problem.
Yeah,
Starline is the most, like, outright, most obvious, most in the open, queer coded character in the comic, and he's a villain. He's a villain who specifically, subverts people's
boundaries.
boundaries. He
And I just want to mention this queer coding. It is not happening in a vacuum
Mhm.
because it is tied into his villainy. I just want to
Yeah.
emphasize because it's not just that he's a villain who has queer coding. It's that in some cases his queerness just intertwines with his villainy.
Yeah.
Need I bring up the lie back and think of Eggman Land scene? That was not that. Adults work on this comic. Adults who can read.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Adults who at least claim to be well read and should damn well know what that phrase means. So I know.
So yeah, that's it's a good comic. This issue, it's good.
Yeah,
Y'all can pick it up. It's good. Just, I'm sorry. I
it is. It's okay. Like, it is yet another piece in a long-standing issue we are having, and it's an issue that no one on the comic seems like they have any intention of addressing in any way,
yeah,
and that is unfortunate.
it hurts.
Yeah.
But there's very good storytelling all around. Sonic and Tails are just really wonderful. I love Surgeon Kit, and I think it's really just impactful, powerful. Just the scene where she is just cowering, and then Kit is hugging her and crying.
Hmm.
And I think the story could end really well. Um, Given just Evan's track record of really never outright disappointing us with a whole issue. Like there's been like an element once in one issue that we didn't like, but like
Evan
aside,
is a
yeah,
fantastic writer, in my estimation.
mm-hmm.
She not only has just, I think she not only has just a very good storytelling sense, but I think she has a really good grasp of comic storytelling in particular. Her issues have a very good way of leading you into the action, making you feel good while it's happening, and then, you know, leaving you with a really tantalizing cliffhanger or just a really good, hook for making you want to come back next issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also I think Natalie Haynes is the one who drew that last part with
Yeah, because definitely it's Evan throughout most of the issue, but I think when we switch back to Tails' lab after
yeah,
Kit leaves,
I think
there's
that's
an
Natalie.
art sift there.
And Natalie holds her own very well in this issue, and drew a really good Surgeon Kit at the end.
Yeah, the art overall, I feel it's like we fully entered the talking scenes rather than the action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot less dynamism going on
Mm-hmm.
overall. But then when it comes to the Surge and Kit scene at the end, this was handled very, very well.
Yes.
It looks great. The expressions on Surge and Kit on the end, the last
Yeah.
panel, are wonderful.
Absolutely beautiful.
So
I
definite
think
major props going on
I
with this.
think they're gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm already, feeling like I want to talk about like, oh, where could these two rambunctious rapscallions go from here? But like, their first story isn't even done yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll save that for after we see how things end up in 56.
Yep.
Because I imagine that we won't see them for a little while after 56. Um, so we'll probably get a little break. Other things will happen in the comic. And but I'm sure we'll be seeing them again,
Yeah.
and I look forward to just seeing how this all turns out and what kind of role these two characters are going to find for themselves
Mm-hmm.
going forward.
For sure. But I think that's about everything we've wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of blazed by,
yeah,
honestly.
it was a really good issue and a really good comic. Evan is really doing this comic good. Um,
Hmm.
we know now, also as of this stream, that the arc after this is going to focus around Tangle and Whisper.
Hmm.
With Ian taking over at that point, and I mean, what else is there to say? But I hope it goes well.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I mean, I remember that like when we were first starting with Imposter Syndrome, like I believe we were pointing out that the best thing he'd written before then had been the Tangle and Whisper miniseries, so
yeah,
we can but hope that tackling Tangle and Whisper again will go well this time too.
gotta hope, gotta hope.
Yeah.
But
I guess I do still just have a few notes to talk about regarding
Yeah.
just the issue overall, because
Mm-hmm.
it's only for one page here, but Evan, of course, continues to do a great job writing Eggman.
Oh yeah.
Um, he's so fun under her pen, as are Orbot and Cubot.
Also
Only
great at
Orbot gets
drawing him.
dialogue here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very much. Um, only Orbot gets dialogue here, but I just love it every time she's writing, Eggman and his funny little bot buddies.
Yeah. And even though Cubot doesn't have dialogue, there's plenty of characterization to go off of because of the Mika
Yeah.
figure. Uh, Rain Rudnick is in chat saying they love how Evan writes Eggman so much, and that Cubot bit was really, really funny. It sure was.
Hmm. And Whisper has been getting a lot of focus from the previous issue and this one, and
Mm-hmm.
it's mostly been just her being in despair, which is unfortunate for
More
Whisper.
pain for Whisper.
Yeah, but it's been very compelling, and I look forward to where Whisper will go from here,
Mm-hmm.
more so than here, because the part where the character's in pain isn't necessarily my favorite part.
Certainly not.
uh, and yeah, also, Belle and Whisper have met now.
Yeah, now she knows who Whisper is after that aside in Trial by Fire where she's like, "Who's Whisper?" Ah!
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a good issue. It
Yeah.
Surge and Kit are back together again, and
Yeah.
I very much look forward to what next issue is going to bring. Our little next month cover preview shows an interesting cover in three parts. We have
Yeah.
the top half of it dominated by Eggman in the Egg Walker, not to be confused with the Egg Walker. Um,
Yeah.
the bottom half shows Surge clutching her head, clearly continuing to be tormented by the
Yes.
Starline figure. Of course, the covers do never show the Dynamo Cades as. I mean, these covers were. I think this cover was even revealed before the Dynamo Cades was known,
Yeah,
because of just
and
how far ahead comics get previewed.
I don't. I think that's an industry problem, not this comic problem. But I don't like it.
Mhm.
It makes it so
Yeah,
that they can't include like Kit, and what's going on with him in these covers. Like,
yeah, because the in the middle, as I said, it was in three parts, just going in between the two, on top of like Starline's toothpaste logo.
uh,
We have Sonic and Tails being chased by Metal Sonic. Sonic not seeming to notice,
mm-hmm.
but Tails is concerned. And also, Sonic, he has a leg wound, which is not featured in any of these covers.
Yep.
Because, like, they want to reveal these covers, they want to get people excited for these upcoming issues, but they don't want to, like, reveal all the story beats and things that are going to happen, even as they have to tease some of them. And,
Mm-hmm.
we know exactly when the threat will be diffused, because we have like multiple months in advance of having comics and their their
Mm-hmm.
plots being sort of advertised.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at least for now, this was issue 54.
Mm-hmm. Another good issue and a string of good issues from Evan.
Yeah. We're here at about the halfway point of this current story, so I imagine things are gonna start really ramping up next time,
Mm-hmm.
and probably gonna lead to a pretty explosive finish.
Yep.
In December, I guess.
Happy fucking New Year.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank y'all for rain writes the month of rain because December is when their birthday happens.
Hmm.
Yeah. But, that's about it for us.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, please feel free to follow us on Twitch. We like to stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays like the day before yesterday, and Thursdays like today.
Hmm.
We've
Feel
got.
free.
Yeah,
You were saying?
I was gonna mention. I guess I should do this after. You can also feel free to like, comment, or subscribe if you're watching from the VOD channel, which is linked to on our Twitch profile. And if you want to check out the Twitch stuff, you can go to the description. We have the link to our channel there. And Cluster does read the comments, so leave a comment if you want.
Yeah. Be nice.
Be good. And we are less than 2 weeks away from Frontiers launching now,
It's real close.
and there will be a release day stream. That is our plan. Anyway.
Yeah. Game will come out, and as soon as we are able,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on like sleep schedule stuff and whatnot, whether or not it will be, as soon as it's available for anyone, which it
Yeah.
might be. But we are definitely planning to stream the game as soon as is feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Felisa will be playing through as much of the first part of the game as feels good.
Yep.
And I mean, we're gonna experience a new Sonic game.
For the first time together, live on stream.
Yeah.
And that'll just be fun to have, just a nice little capsulated memory,
Mm-hmm.
It's our first time experiencing it together. But yeah, till next time, I'm Felicia Rondo, and that's Close over there.
Hey.
Bye everyone.
Bye bye. Have a great